Big-Ass Switch, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you're watching another episode of Every Which Way. This time featuring cookbook author Melissa Joulwan. Melissa is the author of my two new favorite cookbooks, Well Fed and its sequel, Well Fed 2. And if you are a person who is curious about the paleo diet, or you are living a paleo lifestyle already, this interview is going to be especially interesting to you. But I also think that it has something for everyone because Melissa is her own special snowflake, as she likes to say, and she is inspiring across the board. So without any further ado, here she is, Melissa Joulwan. Hi Melissa, welcome to Every Which Way.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's great to talk to you.
It's a big honor because you have changed my life. You have changed my tongue's life. I accidentally got into paleo recipes last year. I eat a very healthy, clean diet. I'm into whole foods. I got into paleo recipes and found Well Fed. Oh my, you're a recipe genius.
Thank you.
You are.
I'm so glad you like them.
This is Well Fed for anybody who wants to see. And then I got this for Christmas. And
yay! You have the whole set.
Yes. Seriously, how did you come up with these amazing recipes? You got me into spices. That's like the main thing I think of when I think of you is spices, cumin in particular. And it really is delicious and something else. You don't feel like you're missing anything eating this food.
I don't know when the spice obsession started, but I've always been really interested in international food because I love travel and I love to read. So I would read cookbooks or novels set in exotic places, and the food ideas just kind of transported me. So when I started cooking for myself, I started really playing with a lot of spices, and I've never been a baker. So like the paleo treats, I'm kind of like, people come to my site and they're like, where are the desserts? I'm like, I'd rather eat lamb chops. I don't know. So I started playing with the spices because it kind of feels like alchemy to me. You can take things that, 3 ingredients and transform them into 20 different ethnicities just by changing what kind of spices you put on them.
Yeah, I haven't gotten very much into Well Fed 2 because I just got it for Christmas and I've been busy, but I love the, I'm going to say it wrong, bangers, balls, and what am I missing? Bangers and balls. Those are the only I can remember. Burgers! Of course I would remember the first two.
Yes. The naughty ones.
She has this cool section, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, in her book where she shows you how to make different meats, different ethnicities of ground meat into different shapes, which it sounds really basic, but it can really open you up to a lot of different ways, especially if you're eating the paleo diet of preparing your food. That must have been a fun section to create.
That's actually my favorite part of the book. I really, really had fun with that. And there are 15 different kind of dough recipes, meat dough recipes. But I narrowed that down from 25. I mean, I have so many more ideas because it's so much fun. And I was reading a Chinese cookbook one day and explained how the way you cut vegetables can kind of change how they taste because it changes their texture when they're cooked. So if you slice something really thinly as opposed to dicing it, you're going to get a slightly different flavor because of the texture. And I kind of feel like it's the same thing with the burgers, balls, and bangers. Maybe it's my imagination, but something about eating it in the burger shape at least feels different to me than eating it in the meatball shape or the sausage shape, which we will call bangers just because it's fun to say.
Bangers, yeah. It's great for breakfast, too. If I'm doing my first Whole30 right now, which is your fault again, I blame you for that because you seduced me into it. I got tricked, I feel like, because I was having such a good time with Well Fed, and I read the whole book. I love to read cookbooks, too, and I really fell in love with your personality, but I was looking at the recipes like, this is foreign. I don't know. I don't use these ingredients. And one day I went out and I bought just a ton of spices, and then I was hooked because your recipes are so scrumptious, and I noticed most of them are Whole30 approved, and I already eat such a clean diet. I was like, how hard can it be when you have well-fed? And it's true. It really, you like got the wheels turning, like, I want to try that, you know, if she's doing it and she's eating this food, you know, it must not be that hard.
Yeah, well, Melissa and Dallas, the founders of Whole 9 Life, who created the Whole30, are always really clear that the Whole30 is meant to be 30 days of really, really strict, not a whole 365. But I wrote a little essay about that in Well Fed 2. I just eat Whole30 style all the time when I'm home, so that when I go out to a restaurant, I don't have to worry so much about the seed oils, or are they putting a little sugar in the Thai curry because it makes it taste really, really good. And like, I don't do that at home because it tastes really good without it too. Mm-hmm. But it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable when other people are cooking for me. So we pretty much eat Whole30 around our house all the time. Cool. You know, maybe a little bit of honey added to something here and there.
Can you tell people what Whole30 is?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So the Whole30 is kind of taking paleo and making it a little bit more strict, but only for 30 days. And there are a couple benefits to doing that. The first is that I feel like it really got me in touch with what my triggers were for eating. Mm-hmm. It kind of helps you recognize when you're eating out of boredom or some other emotion and when you're eating because of true hunger. Because if you're really hungry, then something like a piece of grilled chicken will be really appealing to you. If you're just snacky because you want to eat, then you're probably reaching for almonds or, I don't know, a jar of sun butter and a spoon. Not that I would ever do that. So I feel like the Whole30 for me really helped with that. And I think too, you know, lots of times when people are already eating really clean and eating a paleo diet, they feel pretty comfortable in what they're doing. And I think the Whole30 kind of asks you to tune it up a little bit more, experiment a little bit more, be a little bit stricter to see if it changes how you sleep, you know, what it's like to go to the bathroom, those kinds of things. And I think if you've never tried to change your eating habits consciously, the Whole30 is a really valuable way to do it because it's based on such sound nutritional principles. If you're going to do like a crazy 30-day thing, the Whole30 is a really good one to do because there is absolutely nothing in there that's going to hurt you. In fact, it's going to make you probably blossom in the 30 days. And for people who try it or are in the middle of it and they're like not feeling that magic yet, if you've been eating a processed standard American diet for a while, it may take more than 30 days for you to start feeling really good. But eventually you will. So you kind of need to, I don't know. So I wrote a blog post about it once. Like sometimes I just need to white knuckle it too. You know, we all do. Like when it gets tough, you just got to like grit your teeth and be like, it's only a month, I'm going to do it. Or it's only 60 days, whatever. Mm-hmm. My husband, Dave, and I, because of my thyroid challenges and he has some stuff going on, we started working with a new functional medicine doctor. And she put us on a elimination diet that was like the Whole30, only with even more stuff removed. And we had to do it very strictly with no little treats at all for 120 days. Let me tell you, I think the first 45 were probably the hardest. And then around 90, we were like, yeah, whatever. This is just how we eat now. Fine. Yeah. And then, you know, 2 weeks later, I was like, I am losing my, like, if I could just have some red wine vinegar. Like, is that so much to ask? Because the only vinegar we could have was cider vinegar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was really, the thing about that is like, okay, 120 days, we couldn't eat out. Like, that was kind of annoying. Mm-hmm. But if you look at 4 months in the course of your whole life, we learned some interesting stuff. I mean, number one, I learned, okay, I could whine about not being able to eat balsamic vinegar and red wine vinegar, but you know what? In the grand scheme of things, really not that bad.
Yeah, totally. First world problems.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what we have.
I can't have my balsamic vinegar on my salad, you know. Yeah.
I have done a number of elimination diets. That's what has actually shaped my personal diet. I teach a program called Sad to Sexy where I get people off the standard American diet and I introduce them to what an elimination diet is. But the Whole30 is actually more strict than the one that I outline. And I just, That's how I am not a depressed, anxious person anymore. I used it for my brain and for my body chemistry. I never had a weight problem, but it's amazing how food, it's something, I think an elimination diet is a really great thing for anybody to try that's having skin rashes, mood disorders. It's not just about your weight. It's not just about how you look. It's how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to think that I was really moody, and it turns out I'm actually not moody. It's just that I was on that sugar roller coaster, and if I wasn't fed or taking a nap every 2 hours, I was like a maniac. And I kind of described it as that sort of, I mean, everyone has an internal monologue, but I feel like the chatter and the kind of circular swirling, repeating thoughts that I would get sometimes, gone. It's just peaceful in there.
Yeah.
And, it's because there's no junky sugar and yucky other processed, made-up ingredients.
Yeah, and you're lucky you say you don't have much of a sweet tooth.
I don't. I recognize that I'm really lucky. But salty snacks are a problem. Salty snacks are really a problem for me. They're my crack.
Yeah. Well, I had to give up the maple syrup and the honey and all of that. And I do notice I'm 22 days into the Whole30 now, and I have a mental clarity that is awesome. I don't think I can stop after 30. I think I'm going to push it 90 and then see how that feels.
Yeah. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah. Can you tell people a little bit about, I know you're working with half a thyroid right now, and you say the other half doesn't work as well. So how does that work? What's going on there?
Well, I had to have most of my thyroid removed because I had a nodule. And we found it because I'd had like the fittest year of my life. I was eating really clean. I was training really hard. In retrospect, probably too hard, but I didn't know that. And I felt amazing. And then like a month later, I started not feeling amazing. So I went to the doctor and I was like, this makes no sense. I eat really well. I exercise. And I'm just so fatigued. Like sometimes I would come home from a workout and fall asleep on the couch for 2 hours like somebody hit me in the head with a frying pan. I would just be like, down, out. So he couldn't, he ran a blood test and he said my thyroid looked normal, which of course if an endocrinologist had looked at it, they would say that my numbers were not normal, but whatever, my regular doctor said they were normal. But then he palpitated my throat and he found a nodule and it was pretty big. So he sent me to ear, nose, and throat doctor, and she felt it and was like, "Oh my God!"
Oh no!
Like apparently they could see it. I could never see it, but they could see it. And we did the ultrasound, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that thing needs to come out." And with thyroid nodules, at least at the time when I was when this was happening to me, which was 2008. It was too big to needle biopsy. For people who don't know what that means they would stick a needle in it and take out some of the cells. I know, ew, right? And test them to see if they were cancerous. But the nodule was too big to do that because the needle would only be in one spot in the nodule. So they had to take it out, basically. And it was right before Thanksgiving. And this is my sad story. We were going to go to Disney World for Thanksgiving. My surgery was scheduled for like the week before, trips off, whatever, celebrated Thanksgiving with like my head like a Pez dispenser because he cut my throat. Anyway, took the nodule out, and the good news is that it was not cancerous, and that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yes.
The bad news is that they left about a third of my thyroid thinking that maybe it would function well enough that I wouldn't have to take thyroid medication, and it didn't. So for about 9 months to a year, I was not on thyroid medication because we were waiting to see what was going to happen. And it was just like, if I started up here, it was just like this slow, like down into a hole. My energy, my mood was terrible. So I went to an endocrinologist and he ran my blood numbers and was like, we need to get you onto some thyroid medication. And since then, because I'm a very special snowflake, it's been just lots of self-experimentation to get the right dose and the right medication and the right doctor. So there are times when I feel pretty good and there are times when I don't feel so good and I have to go get my blood test done again. Right now, I'm in a pretty good place. I just announced on Twitter yesterday that my ratio of reverse T3 to T3, which if you don't know thyroid stuff, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. The headline is the ratio for my first time ever is in the good range.
Oh, right.
So that's a really good sign. That also indicates that my adrenals are probably working correctly, which has been a problem. So
Very
hopefully...
cool.
Yeah, hopefully we're getting to the end of the investigative phase and I'll just know like what to do to take care of myself now.
Yeah.
But all of that is a long way to say, if you have any kind of health issues, eating a really clean diet is essential because it kind of gives you a baseline for how you feel. And then you can adjust medication and behavior on top of that baseline. Like if I wasn't eating really clean paleo, I wouldn't know if I felt fatigued because I was eating gluten,
right,
or if I was eating too much sugar, and am I moody because my thyroid medication is off, or am I moody because, I ate a whole bunch of paleo treats yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of have to eat really clean now if I want to feel my best. And it's not really a high price to pay because the food is really good.
Yes, well fed, well fed. And I've heard you say this before, everyone is a special snowflake, because that's kind of the point of doing an elimination diet, is to find out how special you are and, what you can and can't have. And I even teach people, I use a lot of Weston Price Foundation information. So if you're going to eat grains, learn how to prepare them properly, like fermentation, soaking, that kind of thing. And I don't eat them right now, obviously. But I do miss my fermented porridge. That was like my favorite. Yum.
Yeah, I've been investigating resistant starches just because I'm like, ooh, the idea of eating a little rice once in a while is very appealing. These are the things that get me really excited now. I'm like, oh, I could eat half a cup of white rice.
Well, your zoodle recipe, I was a raw vegan for a time, so I made the zoodles and I ate them raw with like raw whatever, tomato sauce and stuff. And they're good that way. They are tasty. But I tried your zoodle recipe and now I must have made it at least 3 dozen times since I first started it. And that was like in October, I think. I love it. It is so tasty. And the secret is in sweating the noodles. How did you learn that?
It's an old trick that people used on cucumber salad. And I was like, cucumbers and zucchini are really similar. I wonder if that would work. So I salted the noodles and put them in a sieve with a bowl underneath it. And holy cow, like half a cup of water came out of them. I mean, it's crazy. If you've never salted zucchini, you need to do it just for the pure science of it. It's amazing. Yeah, like tons of liquid comes out. And I have a new trick in Well Fed too, which is after you sweat the noodles and rinse them and dry them, if you put them in the refrigerator in a mesh strainer for anywhere from an hour to overnight, more moisture comes out of them. And you barely have to cook them. Just a minute until they're hot and the texture is perfect.
That is one of my new staples. That's the thing too. I kind of go through phases with the new cookbook. And I'll like make everything in it, and then things stick. And I think that when people first think about trying a paleo diet or a whole food diet or whatever kind of diet they want to try, it's intimidating. They don't want to let the goodies go. So I think the secret is to get a book like Well Fed, play around and get some new staples going for yourself. And I have to mention one more recipe, and that is your chicken. I'm so bad at meat. I like make it so dry and like leathery. That's just not my talent. And I have to say that chicken recipe, so good, so yummy. You make me look so good.
It's the brining. It's the thing. I think. Okay, I understand people being intimidated by cooking, but the thing is, once you learn a couple tricks, like salting raw vegetables to remove the extra moisture, or brining chicken, like suddenly you're like a cooking genius. And it's just a couple of little skills that you need in your bag of tricks. Yeah. And I really my experience has been that a lot of people who switch to paleo are maybe changing from eating out a lot to having to eat at home a lot, particularly if they're doing a Whole30. Like it's really, really hard to do the Whole30 and eat out a whole bunch. So I really wanted to make sure that both of the cookbooks really explain everything. So for people watching, like if you think you don't know how to cook, trust me, you'll be able to make these recipes even if they look intimidating. They're super easy. There's nothing complicated in there.
No, it did. That's good to mention, because at first it is a little foreign. Like, I'm like, oh, really, all these spices? Or I don't know. The pictures made it look so nice. But now we have like a joke in my house. I say, you can thank Melissa Joulwan for that, because my husband always says, oh, we should open our own restaurant. This is amazing. This is amazing. I'm like, it's not mine.
You have permission to open a restaurant. Go for it.
Okay. I just won't call it Well Fed. I don't want to get sued.
It could be Melissa Joulwan's Well Fed trademark, and then you could have
okay.
Second
we'll have
restaurant.
to talk. And your website is not Well Fed. It is The Clothes Make the Girl.
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's once you get to like following you a little bit, it becomes like you. It's so Melissa Joulwan. You're a pretty hip lady. You were a roller derby girl at some point in your life.
I was. So my website is called The Clothes Make the Girl because I had a full-time job at a web development agency, and it wasn't that hard a job, so I had a lot of free time on my hands. And I wanted to write. I've always been a writer, and I missed writing for fun because writing for work was pretty dry and corporate. And in fact, one of my clients for a while was Papa John's, which was the worst matchup of writer and client ever.
That's so funny.
It was pretty funny. So I started my blog, and at the time I was really into like the street fashion blogs, and I was like, I'm going to start a fashion blog. So I think I wrote maybe 2 posts about fashion. And then I started writing about my workouts and what I was eating. And I think maybe 6 people were reading it, like the people in my CrossFit class. But I just kept going with it because I liked writing. And things kind of turned a corner. We did this workout called the Zombie Apocalypse Preparedness Workout.
Okay.
Where it's pretty sweet. You got to look at it if you haven't seen it. And like we took photos for every exercise, and it's an actual workout that you can do, but it's all themed around zombies. And that's just kind of got attention from other bloggers, and I started getting all of these new readers. And around then I was also starting to eat paleo and sharing my recipes, and things just kind of took off from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I can do the CrossFit thing. I accidentally fell into like loving, I don't say I'm paleo, I just eat paleo food. I don't know what that's about. And and then the whole 30, and I see a lot of you people are really into the CrossFit thing, and it looks pretty scary to me. It looks intimidating. Like, how did a fashionable lady like yourself get into something so hardcore?
I was coming off of roller derby.
Maybe
I should talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
So I was a very chubby, overweight kid, and then I was a overweight, borderline obese young adult. I never exercised with any regularity or played sports or anything until after I graduated from college. I played the piano. I really liked to read, and that was what I did with my free time. And then I graduated from college, and I was like, yeah, I can't go through life like this. So I started eating differently, and I started exercising, and I did workout videos in my living room. Like, I didn't go to a gym like ever. It took me, I think, about 3 years until I was willing to actually try going to a gym, because I know it was intimidating and scary, and I felt really uncomfortable. So then I got super excited about fitness stuff, and I did triathlons, and I did long distance biking, and I was like, suddenly I could see colors or something. Like, I wanted to consume every sport that I could. Like, I tried everything. And I'm not particularly good at any of them, but I like it. And unlike other things in my life where I expect myself to be good at them, I don't ever expect myself to be good at athletic endeavors. So it's just pure fun. Like, there's no judgment or self-criticism because I play the piano. I don't play sports, whatever. So we moved to Austin, and I didn't know, from San Francisco, and I didn't know anyone. And I saw a poster for roller derby, and I was like, that seems fun. So we went and watched, and probably 3 minutes into watching, I was like, I have to do this. Like, I have to try this. So a friend of a friend introduced me to one of the roller girls, and she invited me to come to a practice, and I went, and like, that was it. I'd roller skated when I was in like 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So it was just like my nerdy past coming back in a different form.
Yeah. So it's like play. Your exercise is playtime.
Yes.
Is that Smudge who keeps...
It is Smudge.
Oh, let's meet Smudge.
This is Smudge. She doesn't like to be held.
Oh, she thinks she's a supermodel. She's been like strutting back and forth behind you.
I didn't know if you could see her or not. She's walking around the table where I'm sitting.
She's so cute. I love
the
her little
CEO.
nose. My people are animal lovers, so they will like that.
Yeah, she's a sweetie. She's very selfish with her love. She only wants to be petted when she's half asleep, and she does not like to be held at all. And I try to respect that because I feel like cats are like cool because they're just like, what? Leave me alone. I'm a cat. Why are you touching me? And so I try to respect it. I have
very dog-like cats. They're like all up in our business all the time.
Yeah, she's really not like that at all. She's really not.
Can I ask you, you kind of have a family operation there going with your husband and Smudge, and you've got like sort of a family of friends. Did you... How do I ask this? How did you get into doing the cookbooks? Was that just a natural outcropping of sharing recipes on your blog? And do you self-publish?
Yes. So every Saturday morning, my husband Dave and I, who is my love partner and business partner.
And photographer.
And illustrator.
Okay.
And taste tester. We go out to breakfast every Saturday morning, and like I said, I had that full-time job that I was kind of like, it's fine, whatever. And we were just talking about, like, what's an exit strategy long-term? Like, how could I ever get out of there? And I was like, well, the recipes on my blog are the most popular pages on my site. And people are asking if I'm ever going to do a cookbook. So maybe we could do, like, a little ebook. That'd be fun. And we talked about it every Saturday for a couple of weeks. And they were like, okay, let's just do it. And seriously, when we started, we were just going to do an ebook and like maybe use some of the photos already on my site. And then Dave was like, no, let's take new photos. So we did a survey to see, do people need a photo with every recipe, and are they interested in a print book? And like overwhelmingly, the responses were, we want a print book, we want a photo with every recipe. And we were like, oh no, we're like really going to do this now. So we started taking the photos, and his photos are amazing. And I had no idea he knew how to do that. And he took a couple of them, and I was like, did you know that you knew how to do this? And he was like, no, not really. So it just kind of snowballed, and we learned as we went. We did a lot of research on self-publishing because I'd written a book about roller derby for Simon & Schuster. Mm-hmm. And it was super, like, the best thing about being published by Simon & Schuster is just being able to say that. Like, it was so much fun. Like, I went to their office in New York, and, I gave them my receipt for my cab. It was so fun and glamorous. But it was ultimately kind of a disappointing experience because when you're not already famous, you don't get a lot of support from the publisher. Mm-hmm. And the book was well loved by roller girls, but, like, nobody else really knew it existed. And I was really disappointed because I think it's a pretty good book, and it is about roller derby, but it's also about life and not giving up on the things you want to do and believing in yourself, all that corny stuff that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I was hesitant to, try to sell my book to a publisher. And when you do that, you kind of sell the content away forever. And with how proficient the two of us are with digital media, we were like, let's just try it ourselves. And then we won't have anybody messing with our ideas. And if it's awesome, great. And if we love it and nobody else does, great, because we'll have made an art project that we feel really proud of. So that's what we did. And it's been amazing. I think Well Fed has sold 110,000 copies so far.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's how I found you. I found you through the cookbook, not the blog. I was looking for something different. A lot of, I love paleo cookbooks, but a lot of them, they're very similar. And there's a lot of baked goods, like you were saying. And that one, I was reading the reviews, and it just looked like something different, and it is. It's totally different and unique.
Because we're weird.
You're a special snowflake.
Well, and like we broke every rule. Like, we didn't put a photo of food on the cover because we didn't want to, and we didn't put me on the cover because I really didn't want to do that. And there are no treats. There are a couple of fruit-based desserts, it's not organized around breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks because that's not how I think about food anymore. Like, once you make the switch to paleo or real food, like breakfast is just the same as lunch and dinner in terms of content, protein and vegetables. And so, yeah, Well Fed's a little quirky, but
I like that. It's like you get a sense of the person behind the book and the team behind the book. And that's what I did first. I just read it and learned about you and was like,
I love that.
Yeah, I think I'll try some of these recipes. I have a theme here at Kick-Ass Witch, and that's creating the kick-ass life of your dreams. And what you were just saying about your roller derby book, actually, we need the title of that so people can check that out.
Yeah, it's called Roller Girl, Totally True Tales from the Track.
Okay. Because people are going to want to read that now after hearing you talk.
The thing that I like about that book is that it's sort of memoirish, and that it's my first person account of helping found the flat track roller derby in Austin. But I met so many amazing women doing that their stories are sprinkled throughout it too. So there's something for everybody. And if you think you're not interested in sports or roller derby, that's okay too, because it's about music and fun and adventure and
you're a little bit fun. Rock and roll.
A little bit.
I like that. And you're kind of just a person who follows your bliss, or at least that's the impression I get. You kind of let life guide you to where you're going to go next, which is what I was asking you. Can you share with us one tip for creating the kick-ass life of your dreams? What would that be?
Oh, that's a really good question.
It's broad.
It is. Well, and I think that, I have to tell a long story first to get to a good answer. When I was 24, so a long time ago, 21 years ago, I was living on a houseboat with Dave in Sausalito, California. And we loved the houseboat. We loved living in Sausalito. It was amazing. I feel so spoiled that I got to do that when I was in my 20s. It was great.
It's so beautiful up there.
It really is. And the weather is perfect for me. It's between 60 and 70 almost every day. And it's really sunny. And there would be sea lions swimming around our houseboat. It was crazy. It was really nice. But I was, that's really young. And I hadn't really done anything yet work-wise. And I didn't really have a lot of confidence in myself as a writer and what was going to happen to me, career-wise. I didn't know. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with myself. And one of the exercises I came across in some book was to describe your perfect day. And I wrote down that my perfect day would be to get up and work out and have breakfast and write and then have lunch with Dave and then exercise or write some more and then have dinner and watch a movie and go to bed. That's what I want. That's what I want my life to be. I want to write and I want to work out and I want to enjoy myself. And I really at the time wasn't sure how to make that happen. And I had over the next 20 years really good full-time jobs that were lucrative and taught me new skills. And finally now at 45, the day I described is pretty much what my life is like.
Oh, I love it.
So, how to turn that into a piece of advice. I think we can make things that we want happen, but not necessarily on our time frame. I wanted that life right then. And without the professional skills and the confidence that I gained over the last 20 years, I don't think I would have the life that I have now. I needed to work for other people and learn how to read a contract and put together a business plan and figure out a schedule for a large scale project and how to sell my ideas and all of that junk that I don't love to do in my job, but it makes my job possible now.
Right.
So I had to go through all of that to get what I wanted, and I'm not good at being patient. But now I'm also 20 years was actually not that long to make all of that happen. And along the way I played roller derby and, moved to Austin. So,
and wore some fabulous clothes. Hey.
Although not so much in Austin because it's so hot here, it's hard to be fabulous.
Wait.
So, and I used to be, when I was younger, I was much more of a planner, which is not to say that I don't make a lot of lists and plans now, but I was really, really attached to my plans. And I have to admit, after right around September 11th, I also had some personal stuff happening, and it just felt like this convergence of like randomness that I couldn't control. And I was like, okay, so I kind of feel like plans are just a way to make you feel a little comfortable and move you in a direction, but you can't get too attached to them because then you exclude the possibility for other things to happen. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the other things that happen are amazing, and sometimes they're really hard, but they're all valuable, even the hard ones.
Yeah.
So that was kind of meandering answer, but...
No, it's a good answer. It reminds me, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I got a little thrill out of this because I've been grooving on Well Fed so much for the last however many months. So this was fun.
Well, thank you. It was really fun for me too. And if you're gonna cook out of Well Fed too, try the West African chicken stew. It's really good.
Okay, I'll make that my next meal.
Right on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.